Welcome to Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston, PhD. Glenn has held his doctorate in psychology for more than 30 years and is also a former multi-million-dollar consultant to the big food industry and uses his experience to help you defeat your cravings. This show will help you to focus on dramatically reducing cravings and leave the diet mentality behind, so you can more easily and effortlessly achieve your health, fitness, and body composition goals. Please remember, no doctor-patient relationship is created via this show, and you are responsible for confirming any changes to your diet, health, or psychological routines with an appropriately licensed professional before implementing them. Now, before we get started, if you haven't yet downloaded the free smartphone app to access dozens of these recordings all in one place, as well as to avail yourself of a confidential community for support, motivation, and assistance, please visit the podcast link on defeatyourcravings.com as soon as possible. And now, here's your host, Dr. Glenn Livingston.
Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston. And I'm here with Manuela, who's a very kind-hearted woman that you've heard from before, and has a couple of things to talk about with regards to micro binges and some other subtle issues. Manuela, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very good. So you and I have been talking about doing this interview for a little while. Why don't you catch everybody up about what your life has been like and your progress and some of the stumbles and falls and how you get back up. Catch us up about where you are.
It's been really great. And I felt at times that I must be the hardest nut to crack or something. And I went through, 30 iterations on my food plan. Also kind of micromanaging and I could tweak this and I could tweak that. And then going between over-regulating to under-regulating and kind of finding the way that worked for me. I feel like I have a pretty solid food plan now. I can work with it pretty well. I do find myself having some conscious pick parties. Sometimes it's just like going slightly over plan. On my plan it says no food after 8 p.m. And then somebody made dinner for me and it's already 10 to 8. And so we eat and it goes a few minutes over. Or I have a rule about sitting down and focusing on food. And so I find myself in Dad's garden and he's like, oh, look at that tree. We can just eat fruit off that tree. And so we stand there eating fruit. And that's not bad, but it's off. And I'm conscious about that. So I think I'm really at a point where I'm conscious that, oh, this is off plan and this is the pig, not me.
I want to talk about all that. I just want to ask you one question first. Why did you keep going? I hear this story quite frequently where people tell me they're the toughest nut to crack and they had all these different iterations of their plan before they really got it where they wanted it to be. Why did you keep going? Because a lot of people give up when they have those struggles.
It worked. Even though I fell off plan, I was on plan again fairly quickly and quicker with every iteration. So I've been with therapists and stuff and talking to them for years and then self-help groups and stuff, and nothing really makes a dramatic difference. And then I talked to you once. It's like fixed. I see it working. In the beginning, maybe the first couple of binges, first couple of times going off plan, it really felt devastating and felt like I was a failure. But now when I go off plan or when I went off plan recently, it felt like, oh, okay, a new data point. Let's see what went wrong.
So you felt the power, and I hear that a lot also, that people will call and say, I know this program works, I just can't quite get it. You felt the power, and that enabled you to continue to get up and aim at the bullseye. Rather than give up and walk away from the archery target, you said, maybe I have to adjust where the target is a little bit. Maybe I have to pull back a little harder in the arrow. And you started to see that if you kept getting up and aiming at the bullseye, that you couldn't help but learn.
One other thing that really helped me, I listened to a lot of the podcasts, and one was an interview with I forgot who, and he talked about people who are addicted to nicotine, that more often they try to quit smoking, the more likely they are to be successful. So it's not failure in and of itself to binge. It's you can just get up and do it again, and you will be more likely to succeed now.
It's one attempt closer to the final quit. That was an interview with Howie Jacobson, who was referencing some research on smoking that said the more often people try to quit, the more likely they are to quit, which seems self-evident, but our pig tells us that we've failed so many times and therefore we're never going to make it. That's evidence that we're different and we can't do it. Think of a baby learning how to walk. How many times did they fall down before they can just get up and walk? Most parents will tell you they wonder how their baby survives, how many times they fall down along the way. If baby said, well, I've fallen down so many times, I might as well just crawl the rest of my life, then we'd have a very different society, right?
Exactly. Not look at the failure so much as what you have accomplished.
Okay, so you were overregulating and underregulating, and now the thing that's bothering you is the conscious pig parties. It sounds like they're not quite as destructive, like having some fruit from your dad's fig tree or something like that. What is it you want to accomplish? What can I help you with the most?
The problem, I think, with the little things off the plan is that when I'm then very tired and exhausted at the end of the day, if it's not 100% clear what the line is, I get into decision-making mode suddenly. Like, is this might go off fine or not? And if I get into decision-making mode, instead of saying, okay, this is the line, then sometimes, or recently, I had a bigger binge, and that's not okay for me. So I want to get to a very clear 100%, not 99.999 something, because I just want to be that clear and that solid on the plan.
So you don't have to make decisions.
Yeah. I realized when I was writing down notes on the last micro binges is I wrote down, I fail when I'm not in control. That's the pig talking. So the situations were mostly when other people made stuff for me or I didn't serve myself. And I think you and I talked before if I wanted to make exceptions for social situations or if I wanted to find ways to just say, no, thank you. And I've tried exceptions. And at this point, just like other people say, oh, I just have to go never with chocolate or something. I think I just need to go never with these situations.
So talk to me about the situations. Let's see if we can put that together for you.
There's fruit in Dad's garden. There was a few minutes over 8 p.m. I ate dinner and didn't realize that my dad was going to make food when I visited him like an hour later. And so I opened the door and there's my dad saying, hey, we made this delicious meal for you. And most of the time I just tell people in advance what I want to do or not, but sometimes I forget. And in these situations, I think I want to go the uncomfortable route and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I just ate. I'm really full. And I will now learn to say that. Or I am going to say this in the future, I guess.
Yeah, well, you will, even if your pig says no. But what are the rules that you're breaking in those situations?
In this particular case, it is leaving 90 minutes between processed meals. And it was only 60 minutes.
So leaving 90 minutes between processed meals?
Mm-hmm. Like I can always eat fresh fruit and vegetables if I ever felt hungry in between.
So I will always leave 90 minutes between processed meals. And is that the same thing when you had the fruit on the tree?
No, that was fresh fruit, but it was standing. I didn't sit down. I guess I could have just squatted down. That would have fixed it, you know. So
I will always eat sitting down?
Yeah, sitting or squatting down. I'm not eating while I stand or walk.
Okay. And is there any other situation?
There was also a friend's birthday party, big party, and they went out of their way to get special food for me that was vegan, gluten-free, something. Just a few days before, I realized that the dinner was like way past 8 p.m. And I just didn't dare to say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to eat it after all. In the future that I'm trying to figure out is I'm going to go to a 10-day meditation retreat and I'm just going to be served food there and I don't really know how to handle it.
Okay, we'll brainstorm that in a second. So the rules you really want to follow no matter what, that I'll always leave 90 minutes between processed meals. I'll always eat sitting or squatting and I'll never eat after 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. Can I add one more example?
Yeah.
I don't eat seconds when I eat this processed meal. I just prepare it in full, and that's what I eat, and then I'm done. And at some point, I got served a small portion to try first, and then instead of saying, oh, that's enough, I got seconds.
If you never ate seconds at a processed meal and you never ate after 8 o'clock and you always ate sitting or squatting and you always left 90 minutes between processed meals for a whole year, what would that mean to you?
I think I would stabilize my weight instead of going kind of up and down, oscillating maybe 5 to 10 kilograms up and down. I think I would be stable and probably at a stable, even more comfortable weight. I think the biggest for me would probably be, and I'm really far along this path, is peace of mind, just not ever thinking about food so much.
Less decisions to make, yeah.
Yeah. Confidence of just saying no, thank you. And I think that would translate to other issues like relationships and stuff, just voicing my needs in a very precise way to just say, okay, this is what I need in any life situation rather than following other people's needs.
You wouldn't be accommodating other people and you'd feel more confident that your needs were being met.
Right. Not always being the people pleaser, I guess.
Yeah. Why would it be good to be at a more comfortable weight and be stable without going up and down 5 or 10 kilograms?
I think I like a more minimalistic lifestyle, and I might be traveling more in the future or not having a stable home, who knows. And right now I have 3 different sizes of clothes in my room, and I just want to have one set.
So you'd have one set of clothes, you'd be lighter on your feet, you could go anywhere you wanted to pretty easily.
And it's much more easy to run up a hill when you have less weight.
You like to run up hills?
Yes.
You like to be at the top, you like the process of running up?
Yeah, I really like running up mountains and hiking.
I like that too. That's one of the reasons I want to be thin. What would the peace of mind mean to you? What would be different in your life if you had peace of mind?
I could focus on the things that are really important to me, focus on changing the world in some way or another. So it would help me in my career or life purpose path plans.
How would you like to change the world? I always say I'm with Steve Martin when he said death penalty for parking violations. But seriously, how would you like to change the world?
I've been a vegan activist. I'm drawn towards helping people with their food issues because now I see the light. I like things with nonviolent communication. I like helping kids to grow up in a more compassionate, healthy way. Many things I like to work on.
Life is too short to be distracted by food all the time.
Yeah.
You and me both. I agree with that. What happens if you don't do this? What happens if you keep letting these situations derail you? What happens in a year or 5 years if you keep letting that happen?
Well, I would get less done. So I would probably maybe have big projects and not finish so much.
It would be harder to move forward with your career?
Yeah.
And would you still be going up and down 5 or 10 kilograms?
I think so, yes.
What about your peace of mind?
I wouldn't have that then.
I know this is uncomfortable and our pigs don't want us to see this because the pig normally wants us to believe that it's going to remain the same.
The problem I'm struggling with, I don't see that as an option. It's really hard for me because one of the recent things I heard from you that I listened to, you said, it's over, it's done. And so I'm kind of in an it's over mode. I just need to have this little tweak and it's over. So
end of story. Sorry, pig. Hang out in the cage. That's where you live now.
So that's where I live. It's just kind of fleshing out the last little details, but I feel like it's over. So
good. Okay, so let's find out why your pig says that you can't, shouldn't, or won't do this, that you're going to have to give in. You can't leave 90 minutes between processed meals all the time. You can't always eat sitting down. You're going to have to eat sometimes after 8 o'clock, and you're going to have to go back for seconds of some of these processed meals. Why does the pig say you're going to do that?
Sometimes the pig says, well, you're conscious that it's me. So at conscious pig party, you can always choose to consciously go off plan, and that's okay. It's okay to have conscious pig parties as long as you don't make yourself a victim and take responsibility. That's maybe the strongest right now.
Okay.
And then the dependency on other people, don't want to be bothering other people and want to make sure other people are happy.
You need to be sure other people are happy.
Yeah, I like harmony.
You have to eat pig slop to make that happen.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, I have so many somethings planned, and then it's 8 o'clock. If I don't eat now, even though it's off plan, then I won't eat at all or something. So just being hungry for half a day feels really like a big deal sometimes. And rule ranking, kind of breaking this rule is a no-go, but breaking this other rule is not such a big deal. So my pig ranks the rules by
Okay. I've heard that before. So some rules are more important than others, so says the pig. What else, Manuela?
I think that's it.
Can we find the lies? Can we jump back up into your higher self and find the lies in these squeals? I'll do them one by one, okay?
Thank you.
The pig said you're conscious of having these pig parties. It's okay to go off plan as long as you don't make yourself a victim and you take responsibility. You don't pretend to be powerless. It's okay to go off plan. Where's the lie in that?
I feel horrible the next day if I ate something off plan. It doesn't feel good in my body to do that, so it's not okay. And also it makes it more likely to have a more serious deviation later. Do you have a suggestion? Why is it bad to have a conscious pig party?
Well, because it contributes to a feeling of hopelessness and powerlessness. Even if you know that you're consciously making the choice, there's still this part of you that says, well, the pig is always going to get me in some way. So if there's something that you really want to have that's not on your plan, I recommend you say, well, I can have that tomorrow if I really want to, and go back and sit down and revise your plan today. Make sure you're writing down exactly why you're revising it and what the limits of it are, and make the decisions in the absence of the food or the slop at the moment, and then give it 24 hours before it takes effect, and then have it if you really want it. Much better than letting the pig make impulsive decisions. This is all about moving control of what goes in your mouth from impulse to intellect. That's where the power is. That's where it is. The more you can do that, the stronger and more confident you're going to feel.
So the conscious pig party is always an impulsive thing, by definition, I guess.
Yeah, it's what the hell, the pig wants out, I'm going to let it out.
Right.
Like, I know this is a squeal, but I think I want to do it anyway. And there's a reversal of intent, and then there you go. Yeah. And it undermines your confidence and security and sense of mastery. That's what's wrong with it. And the pig says you need to be sure that other people are happy when they offer you slop. So you're going to have to eat it. Where's the lie in that?
I keep thinking of my brother who did this very specific diet around Christmas of all times. And he basically didn't eat any of the typical Christmas food. And all he did was just say, no, thank you. And nobody was super upset. They thought it was a little weird, but I was just, okay. So I think I'm anticipating more upset than it would be. So it's not going to be upsetting. I can get better at planning ahead. I've been a fruitarian for years. I should know how to plan ahead better. So I think it's just a matter of saying, one, they're not as upset as I think they will be. And two, I can ask them for other things that are on plan. Three, I can plan more. Well, I can always have a piece of fruit.
Yeah. You can give them an opportunity to welcome you back into the tribe, which is what's going on when you're going to a family gathering or social event. You're being welcomed back into the tribe, and they're offering you a love gift. And you can give them something else to give you as a love gift, like, my stomach's a little upset. Do you have any mint tea? Or maybe a piece of fruit. Or it could even be, hey, I'm just feeling a little cold. Would you happen to have a sweater? I should have brought a sweater. And then they can run and get you something and give you a peace offering. Hey, welcome to the tribe with open arms. And then they feel safe and they feel like they gave you something and you feel like you love them and all is right with the world. And you can't say no thank you. You can. I had a funny talk with my dad yesterday because I'm going to go stay with him for a week. It's probably the first time I've stayed at his house for 40 years. But I'm going to stay with him for a week. And I was asking him, do you want to go out to dinner one night? And he said, you mean you can go to a restaurant? And I said, ever since that event a couple of years ago, it's been a little iffy, but I think they'll let me in. He doesn't understand that I can walk into a restaurant and order a big salad and figure it out. So then your pig says that you're going to be too hungry and there'll be situations where you can't eat for a half a day if you don't plan ahead.
I will survive half a day. I have enough on my body to survive half a day without food.
They're not going to find your bones by the refrigerator?
No, not anytime soon.
You can plan ahead.
Well, the thing is, I can plan ahead and get better, but even if I forgot to plan ahead, these situations might come up. And then I think you said in multiple times something about discomfort. It's okay to not feel comfortable sometimes.
At some point, we formerly heavy people needed to learn how to enjoy our hunger. You have to be careful because it's possible to go too much to the restrictive side. And if you're anorexic or anything, you have to be really careful with this. But if you're going to take the weight off and you're going to eat healthier, there are going to be situations where you feel hungry, and it's okay to enjoy the hunger, and it's okay if the pig is uncomfortable. When the pig says some rules are more important than other rules, you don't have to obey these rules because you obeyed those rules. So you can have some slop. Where's the lie in that?
It's a conscious pig party thing, but the problem is that especially when I'm tired, it then becomes a decision-making slippery slope because it's not like it's written down which ones are more important than others because they're not. So I break one rule that's kind of okay to break, and then the pig goes like, well, now you already broke it, so let's discuss the next one down the line. I have to break that one too. Let's decide now. So I get into decision-making mode and down a slippery slope. So I just want that clarity to say, no, everything has the same importance, period.
Very good. You know about the health food squeal, right? You know about that squeal?
The one that says, oh, this is okay because it's healthy.
Even though it's off the plan, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what the solution is to that?
Well, if you define it as being healthy, then put it on your plan a day ahead. Then you can still wait a day before you eat it and change your plan.
So what's healthy is what's on your plan, and what's unhealthy is what's off your plan.
Right.
So even though there's no nutritionist or dietitian or medical doctor that would say that you were making a health mistake by having some fruit off of your dad's tree, it still was undermining your confidence and therefore wasn't healthy for you.
Right.
Well, how confident are you that you're really never going to binge again?
It's over.
It's over?
It's over. Oh, wait a second.
Game over for the pig?
Game over for the pig. I am starting to inspire others now. So I can be the inspiration. With all my iterations and thinking myself into a little box, if I can do this, then today I feel really confident. So.
Well, how are you going to feel tomorrow?
Confident.
How are you going to feel next year?
Well, it doesn't matter because it's all about now, no?
The future is an infinite string of nows, isn't it?
Yeah. So I might adjust the plan, but I just do it one day ahead of time if I need to. All I do is not ever give in to any little in the moment thing.
How confident are you that you're going to be able to do that for 20 years?
I declare myself 100% confident. And I feel even confident right now. And everything else is the pig talking.
Do you have any questions or concerns? That's how you do it. You're right.
I think with my family and friends, I can just say no thank you. I still wonder how to do the meditation retreats when there's one thing being served and they say they cannot accommodate special things. Do I just not go to these things? Do I make okay, I'm eating what is served for this particular week rule?
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. First of all, I wanted to mention that you're correct that the fear of how upset people are going to be is much greater than how upset they actually will be if you don't eat like they do. And the reason the fear is so much greater is that fear is binge motivated. There's a toxic pleasure that's reinforcing it. Genuinely separate from the pig and you decide it's time to give up that toxic pleasure, then the fear dissipates also.
Can I say something to this?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, when my dad opened the door and he said, oh, we made this food for you, my first thing was like, oh, I don't want to eat. I don't want to go off plan. I'm disenchanted kind of with this going off plan. I made the choice. I don't really want to eat food, but then I do.
Can you give your dad a big hug when he does that? You tell him how sweet he was to do that for you and make him really happy with emotions.
I like that idea.
That worked really well with my mom.
Awesome. Thanks. I like that suggestion.
The other line that I find works really well is, oh, it's just not my thing. People say, not eating that anymore. You don't have sugar. What's the matter? Are you okay? It's not my thing. It's just not my thing anymore.
Oh, there's one pig squeal that just came up. When I had a clear line and I said, oh, I just eat fruits. That is the one rule, or I'm vegan. Then it's easy to communicate to other people and it's easy to know what to prepare. I guess now with the food plan, it's a little more complex to communicate what I do or don't do.
Would it be easier for you when you went out to just say that I only eat fruit and vegetables or only eat fruit?
It was easier. I expect it to be easier, yeah.
Do you want to do that or do you want to be able to have other things when you're out with people?
I think the plan as it is good for me. It does get me into situations with Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just I was more confident then and I just said no thank you and I'm only eating fruit. I think it's just a confidence thing. So yeah, it's just about saying no thank you. Because people still sometimes serve me something that wasn't raw or something and I wouldn't eat it. So it's just a matter of saying, oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that I don't eat after 8. Or I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that I don't eat flour or something. And then just roll with it.
So is that what you want to do?
Yeah. Exactly what we said.
And how confident are you that you can do that?
It's so funny. I knew this before, but now I'm like so much more confident. Wait, I already said 100%.
Are you still 100%?
Yeah.
So let's talk about the meditation retreat. Is the food that they would serve you there so far off your plan that it would really throw you off?
The breakfast is going to be oats, which could be defined, I don't know, kind of gluten-free, so not throwing me off, I think. What would throw me off probably is bread, eating bread. Maybe I should say I will be fine with whatever is served. I will still not have seconds, and I will not eat any bread if they serve it.
Okay. How does that feel?
That feels fine, actually. Huh.
Does it?
Well, there's either this or saying find a way to stick with the plan and maybe be more hungry than usual.
I'm not sure I like the idea of you being a lot more hungry for 10 days. I'm not sure I like that.
Right, kind of setting me up.
If you don't have any flour and you don't have seconds, what else could they serve you at the retreat that would get you in trouble?
I think anything with flour could get me in trouble, like gluten stuff.
So if you eat no flour or gluten?
I think in both situations I might actually be able to bring some food. I need to check.
I was going to ask you, what could you bring?
I was thinking carrots and dates are good.
There you go.
They keep well and they're still nutritious and energy rich.
Sometimes when I travel, I bring tomatoes, or I'll stop and get a case of tomatoes.
10-day meditation retreat, tomatoes might not be the best idea.
A case of oranges or a case of bananas or something like that.
Right. Find a way to just say these are the things I eat. And if I can't find a way, then maybe not go.
I think you should go, Manuela. I think you can figure this out. I don't like people to restrict their lives out of a fear of food. I like them to walk in the world with confidence. Some people take chickpeas. Some people take almonds or some type of nuts and put them in their purse, and they can throw them on the salad or whatever is around with the meal. Dates and carrots, those are great things. Some people take some cans of peas. I know canned food is, sometimes they add salt and stuff like that. It's not the best, but it's a possible compromise there.
But it's on plan for me, so that's fine.
Take a bunch of unplanned food. You can go with a whole additional suitcase if you need to. I've done that. It seems like a pain in the neck, but it's more of a pain in the neck to have to recover from eating slop. And when you're going to a mindfulness retreat, I always tell people that one bite of pig slop takes away your connection to mindfulness and meaning and purpose, because once that seal has been pierced, then the pig gets very active and says, well, you broke this rule, and what about the others? And how are you going to stop? How are you going to know when enough is enough? How are you going to recover? How are you going to justify this? Do you have to change your plan? And your mind is just racing in a million different directions about how to manage the food, as opposed to being present, which is why you're going to the retreat in the first place.
Right. I've taken tons of food to places before. Just for some reason, I didn't see that as an option at the retreats before, but I think it might just be doable there too.
I'm sure it's doable. You tell them you have dietary restrictions and you're just going to carry some stuff with you, or you don't even tell them.
Right.
Tell them you have a big, hairy author friend who's going to come and give them hell if they don't let you do it.
And that brings us to the end of today's broadcast of Defeat Your Cravings, hosted by Dr. Glenn Livingston. Now, if you'd like to find out more about the products and services Dr. Glenn offers to help you dramatically reduce your cravings and stop overeating in 90 days or less, please visit DefeatYourCravingsCoaching.com. That's DefeatYourCravingsCoaching.com. Thanks.